Hello guys, today I have a special guest from Sydney, Australia, and he is Charbel. Charbel is famous for his blog named Cric blog website where he writes amazing articles. You can check that out. And he's also a co-podcaster of a blog, Cric Blog Pod. So you can check that also out. So Charbel, welcome to my channel.
Thank you, Vibhor. Thank you for having me.
Okay. So guys, today Charbel is going to review India's historical test match versus England at Lords, which we won by 151 runs. So Charbel, are you ready?
Of course.
Okay. So we're starting with the losing team. England won the toss and elected to bowl first. Do you think it was a right decision, especially the way Rohit and Rahul played the first session?
I think it was the right decision. I think you saw the overcast conditions in the movement. You got to give credit to the way India batted on that first day. I thought Rahul, Rohit were fantastic in dealing with the movement, and Virat Kohli played quite well as well. So I thought England. I think if England batted first, I reckon they would have collapsed, given how bad their batting has been against the moving ball, against India's attack, to be honest. So I don't think the toss was the reason why England lost the game. I think, they were in a position the last day they could have won it and they let it slip.
So do you think England didn't bowl well in the first inning?
I don't think they bowled badly, no. I think maybe at times they could have bowled a little bit fuller. I felt as well the difference between the two teams was the support bowlers like Mark Wood and Sam Curran didn't bowl as well as they could have in that first innings. They released a bit of pressure. They didn't support James Anderson and Ollie Robinson as well as they could have. Where you saw with India, you had all the fast bowlers working in tandem, particularly on the last day. Probably that was the thing with England in the first innings where they probably didn't bowl well as a unit for the most part. But still, they were in a position that they could have won the match and they let it slip.
Okay, so now talking about England's top order. They have Rory Burns, Dom Sibley and Hasib Hamid as their top three. But Dom Sibley is their second highest run scorer after Root and he averages below 20 this year. And Rory Burns averages just 30. And Hasib Hamid is coming off a good county, not a very good county where he scored 1,000 runs. So what do you say on these top three batsmen? Okay, we can leave Hamid, but what have your say? What is your say on these two, Rory and Sibley?
It's a big concern for England, isn't it? The batting, the top order. Joe Root's often in early at the crease, nearly every innings. It's almost like Joe Root can get the pads on straight away when the openers walk out to bat. Joe Root can be ready to bat because he's in a few overs. I think Rory Burns will probably continue. They'll pick him because I thought he had a good series against New Zealand recently. It's been a bit disappointing to start this series, so he's got a key role to play. They'll also stick with Hamid. Dom Sibley is the one under significant pressure. He's averaging less than 20 this year. Just doesn't have a lot of shots to his game. And he struggles. He struggles at deliveries on the leg stump, believe it or not, chipping them up to short mid wicket, and then also just the one in and around off stump, he squares up to the delivery. So I think England could be looking at a change there. I don't know if Dom Sibley will play the next test.
Okay, so now talking about Jos Buttler. Do you think Jos Buttler is good enough for Test cricket, especially the way he's played Test cricket till now? He has just 2 centuries, although he batted number 6 or 7. But do you think he is good for Test cricket?
His record for Test cricket is not that bad. I think I always say that cricket fans are very spoiled by what Adam Gilchrist achieved. Before Adam Gilchrist came on the scene, an average of 30, 35 for a wicketkeeper was considered quite good. But Adam Gilchrist came and sort of changed that perception. You've got to be averaging 40, 45 plus. And not everyone's as good as Adam Gilchrist in Test cricket. Adam Gilchrist is one of the greatest of all time. I think Buttler, he's been making starts in this series, but I think he's been playing so much white ball cricket that's crept into his game a little bit. I think he's got to make that adjustment. I don't think he's been batting terribly, but he needs to sort of, when he gets that start, focus hard and build on that. Because I think he's the key man. He's a key man in that middle order because England are relying too much on Joe Root at the moment.
Okay. So did England miss Stuart Broad in this test match?
Yeah. Whenever Stuart Broad's not available in in a home test match. That's always a big loss. And it probably comes back to my original point about, it was Anderson and Robinson who led the way, and Sam Curran and Mark Wood were maybe a little bit loose in that first innings where, if you had Broad there, might have been a different story, even though Broad wasn't at his best in the first test. But yeah, I think, look, England will want to try bounce back. Maybe they'll look to bring in someone like Sakib Mahmood next test, or, Craig Overton, particularly if Mark Wood is not fit. So there's some decisions there for England to make.
Okay. And do you think there is any chance for Oli Pope, who was termed as a good youngster, but he's not getting chance, and he didn't did well in when he got chance? But what is your say on Oli Pope?
Yeah, he's got talent. He's got talent, and he could play in the third test. England could look to pick him somewhere, maybe number 3 even, somewhere like that. I think the talent is there with Ollie Pope. The talent is there. It's just the application and the belief. I think, maybe he has 1 or 2 good innings in Test cricket. They might get him going because, he's very classy. He looks good on the eye, but it's about converting those into runs. So I think, he could play the third test, and fingers crossed for him, he does well.
And there are some reports that David Malan and James Vince might be recalled in their side. So do you think that they will be recalled and they will get a chance at number 3?
There's a chance of that happening. We were discussing that yesterday on the podcast, actually, that David Malan and even James Vince, they can't do any worse than what England's top order is doing now. And these guys have done okay in the past at times in Test cricket. And I think if they come back now, I don't think they do worse. I don't think they do worse at all.
Okay. So now moving on to India's team, Indian team, their openers are doing well. Rohit and Rahul are doing well. Pujara looked good in second inning, although he played lots of ball, but that's okay. And Ajinkya Rahane also did well. He scored a 60. But the main problem is about Virat Kohli. He is not scoring so many runs in recent time, especially the way he's getting out. You can't imagine that world number 1 batsman will get out to these deliveries. So what is your say on Virat Kohli?
To be honest with you, I believe he will. I believe he will bounce back. Every player goes through a phase like this. Class is permanent. The guy is world class, great batsman, and people can panic and Virat's not scoring, etc. And look, it is a big drought without a century across formats. We're not used to this, but I think the thing with Virat is he loves to feel bat on ball. And he can get out poking outside the off stump. I was, a lot of people were rightly disappointed with his second innings dismissal. Kohli was very disappointed with the way he got out. It's very important he leaves the ball well outside off stump. And he's a class player. He knows that. And he'll be working very hard to get that right in the third test. So I believe he'll bounce back. He's a class player. He's done it in England before. And, we can have belief he can do it again. As the India fans like you guys need to believe because he's done it before. But to your point, I think the openers have been fantastic for India. I mean, KL Rahul has been absolutely brilliant. He probably, if Shubman Gill was fit, if Mayank Agarwal didn't get hit in the head, he probably wouldn't even be in the team. But he's really taken this opportunity with both hands. It's the technique that the Indian batsmen are showing against the moving ball, which I think has been really impressive so far.
Okay, so now your say on Chiteshwar Pujara. He scored some runs in fourth inning. In his fourth inning this tour, but he is still not look comfortable at the crease in these two test matches. So do you think that he might get dropped if he continues to get out like this?
I think the second innings time at the crease would have been very important, and he did it in a pressure situation as well. So that's really encouraging for Pujara and for India. Look, I agree. He hasn't been in great form since his great series against Australia a few years ago. He hasn't. I think he's averaged below 30, and I think he needs to use this innings, the second innings, he's had time at the crease to use that to build confidence and come into the next game and then do it again. Because as you said, if Pujara is batting a lot of deliveries, it allows the others to play with freedom, because you see what Pujara has done in Australia. He's batted a lot of deliveries, but he allows the others to express themselves and bat freely. So if he can do that here and wear the England bowlers out, then India, I think, will be very well placed.
Okay, so I was thinking that, do you think Rishabh Pant should bat at number 5 and Ajinkya Rahane at number 6? If we talk about previous test match, India was 40 for 3, and at that time, if Rishabh Pant would have came, scoring rate could have been different. The way Rahane played, Rahane is also good. He can do good job while rescuing. But do you think Rishabh Pant should start batting at number 5 for India and Rahane at 6?
There's definitely a case for that because, especially if Rishabh Pant is batting with Pujara, that could be, Pujara holding up an end, wearing out the bowling attack and Rishabh Pant attacking at the other end. Maybe it might depend on the situation of the match, because I felt India were under a lot of pressure in the second innings, 3 down for not many. And then Rahane and Pujara put together a very important partnership. So you could bat Pant at 5. It might depend on the situation though. I think if you need a bit of, if you're in a bit of trouble, Rahane is the man maybe to come in as the second innings showed. But if you're in a pretty decent position, then maybe you can send Rishabh Pant at 5. That's something that India could look at.
Okay, so now talking about Jadeja. Jadeja is yet to take a wicket in this series, but Jadeja, the batsman, has been phenomenal. So do you think that India will stick to Ravindra Jadeja and they won't give Ashwin a chance in third test also?
Yeah, it's amazing that Ashwin can't get in the team this series. He's an amazing bowler, isn't he? I think they probably will stick with Jadeja because he provides the batting cover. And I think that's what India find very, very important. And he hasn't had to do much with the ball because the fast bowlers have been excellent. But what Jadeja provides, he batted well in the first test. And that's what India want. They want a number 7 to provide runs down the order, because the tail, although they batted brilliantly in the second test, it's a bit long. So they want to make sure that they've got runs down the order, very crucial. So I think they'll persist with Jadeja. He hasn't done much wrong.
Okay. Shardul Thakur will be fit by next test match. So do you think he will get a chance, someone being rested for Shardul?
Yeah, I think the only way he'll get a chance is if they choose to rest someone. But the thing is that there's quite a bit of a gap between the second and third test, about a week or so. So there's a chance for those bowlers to recover. I don't know if India will make any changes. It'll probably depend on conditions, but I think if they pick 4 fast bowlers, again, India, they might go with the same bowlers who did well in the second test.
Okay, so still 3 matches are remaining in this series. So which side you are backing to win this series?
I said at the start of the series that when Ben Stokes was out, on the mental health break, I was leaning definitely towards India at that point. When Ben Stokes was available, I was thinking of a draw in the series, but even, especially with Ben Stokes out, he's such a key player for them, and their batting looks even more fragile without him. I was back in India, and I still, of course, think India will go and win this series from here. If England come back, that would be an amazing achievement. I think they're capable with their bowling attack. But I think if India are on their game and focus on what they need to do, I think they're going to be hard to beat.
Okay, so now moving on to last question. How to get Joe Root out? He's not getting out only in this test match also. He scored 180 not out. So how to get Joe Root out?
It's really, really tough when he's in this form, because he can score off good deliveries as well. I think Joe Root's really like deliveries very straight to him, and also deliveries that are wide because he's driven them very well. I think India have got to be very, very tight on off stump, just outside on a good length, and just try to draw up the runs a little bit, build some pressure against him. And then, if you can target in and around off stump and then try to bring one back into him, you might get him LBW. Or you might get him nicking off to one outside off stump. Just try keep it as tight as you can, draw up the runs, because he's been scoring at a quick pace this series. So I think that's got to be the focus for India. Try build some pressure against the world-class player and get him to try and make the move, if that makes sense. Because pressure can do funny things in Test cricket. Like, it was a similar delivery to what Bumrah bowled in the second innings, and he got him out in the last test as well with the delivery just outside off stump where Root just edges it. That's where India could look at and build that pressure in that area and stay there and try build up some dots and see what happens.
So thanks a lot, Charbel, for joining me. Hope you like this session and keep joining me.
Oh, thank you so much, and all the best with your channel. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, Charbel.